What's up, guys? We're back. It's another live stream. I feel like it's been a minute since I've done a proper live stream, and I thought if we're going to come back and do one, we would have a special guest. And you guys probably know who this is. We got Norm from Tested and other things, but this dude is freaking awesome. Norm, welcome to the channel, bro.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here. I'm no Justin, but I feel like this is in my wheelhouse. We can talk about some 6th scale. But yeah, thanks for the invite.
We can definitely talk about some 6th scale and some quarter scale.
Oh yeah, all sorts of collecting in general. Toys in general, absolutely.
The chat's letting me know that I'm 4 minutes late. I'm sorry. It's okay. I will tell you this. I promise you this. We will be done in an hour. 55 minutes. We are out. So we're gonna kick this thing off. So if for those who don't know you, Norm, you want to give us just a short introduction, just tell everybody who you are.
Sure. I'm Norm Chan. I'm one of the editors and one of the co-founders of Tested.com. So we're a website and a YouTube channel. We're the official home on the internet for Adam Savage, who hosted Mythbusters, of course. So along with Adam and our other members of our Tested family, we make videos. We travel around the world to go to conventions, meet all sorts of interesting people, and try to put a spotlight on makers, people who are doing and making awesome things, whether it's in the world of technology, special effects, and things that interest us, the fun intersections of pop culture and art. So, for me, personal passion is absolutely collecting figures. 6th scale is one of those things I've tried to sneak onto the channel from time to time because it's a thing that I'm thinking about, especially this past year. And I'm sure you've heard it as well. Like new collectors, lots of stuff out there. And so having a lot of fun and try to, whenever I do a video about collecting and figures and collectibles, try to infuse a little bit of DIY in there. So make it a project, talk about how to take photos of your things, how to pose your things, how to display them or build a diorama, and to do more with it, to engage with the toys and the collectibles that we have.
Yeah, that's awesome. And he does all of those things very well. Very well. So definitely go check out the website, check out the YouTube channel. And there, if you don't know, on the Tested YouTube channel, they have a channel membership, and there's some extra stuff behind the curtain.
Yeah. We do regular live streams. So, YouTube's been great in letting us kind of directly engage with our fans more, like, live streams like you're doing right now. So I've been doing some weekend setups, this past year, working from home, kind of built our own studios. It's been so funky, like just watching how our own spaces have changed. We do have an office. We're in the Bay Area in San Francisco, but I've been setting up cameras, lighting, and in one of my the rooms I have at home here, it's actually my wife's office. I've been doing some model kit building, doing right now in the middle of a Star Trek Enterprise D model kit assembly, which is going to take like 2.5 years. I think it's a month by month build, but just hanging out on Saturday nights with our YouTube members and subscribers, and just having fun.
Awesome. Well, I've some recent videos I watched, and one of the things I wanted to talk. If you guys have questions for us, throw them in the chat. We'll do our best to answer as many as we can. What we're going to do tonight, just give you kind of a layout for this evening. We're going to talk about collecting. Norm has done some DIY diorama stuff that he's talked about and I got a photo of one I kind of want to talk about because I thought.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah.
And then we've got some figures to pose. I have figures all over this table. I know you've got some, and your room looks like mine. It's just got stuff if you saw behind the camera.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, if you saw behind the camera, it would be. Yeah, it would look like
the
Adam's
envy of all the viewers, right?
Yeah.
Envy and nightmare,
like
right? It depends on. Yeah. So absolutely. I'd love to talk about collecting. I mean, I'm so happy to be here because like this feel like I have friends I talk to about 6th scale, but there are not a lot of people. Like one of our team members, Daryl, who's really into 6th scale with me. He's a 3D modeler, 3D printing guy, and so he's really into making accessories. And like I just love being able to geek out and like. It's like when Superman was fighting Darkseid and he's like, I don't need to hold back anymore. I can like full on punch, right? Because this is someone who can take it. I feel like with you, I can full on geek out and talk about all the subtle things and nuances of all in the world of hot toys and 6th scale and whatever.
All the stuff that nobody else outside that circle understands.
Yeah.
And they look at you like really?
Oh, I gotta hold back all the time. I can't tell them about
You mean
the controversies with the latest sculpts or the revisions here and there, and all the things that we care about, right? That are on the
right?
forums, right?
Yeah, and you
Refreshing the
tell
Reddit
somebody
threads.
you tell somebody you're like you order something and you wait 2 years for it, and they're going,
Yeah,
"What?
yeah.
Like that's not even a." But
Well,
once
that's
you
part
get
of the fun.
into the into the boat, like you just get used to it. This is what it is.
Yep,
You don't like it, but you get used to it.
yeah.
So recently you unboxed a figure that I did a review. I don't have it in this room, but I did a review on it, which was the quarter scale Spider-Man. I'm gonna try and let's see if I can't show the screen. This is a diorama PC built on the channel.
Yeah. I
So,
love your review. I know it's fun watching the other, the Hot Toys reviewers out there. Everyone does it a little differently. I love you took yours out in the open. I'm always about I'm not super precious about collectibles. I definitely know their value and want to treat them with respect, but I want to play with them. I want to pose them. I want to photograph them. They have to serve a purpose. I'm going to appreciate them, right? And one of the things I love doing is just like thinking about the world they can exist in. And I think having accessories. I mean, that's why we love the kind of the accessories that come with these figures, the bases, and all the different things. And for quarter scale, like Spider-Man came with the Vulture, right? At least in the deluxe version, had the giant wing.
oh yeah,
that was
the giant one,
huge presence, right? And for me, I'm like, oh, but I also love all that marketing campaign that they did for Homecoming. With him laying back with the backpack and the jacket. And they didn't do the jacket in the quarter scale. That was just for the 6 scale version, the school jacket. But I also love the one where he's just like hanging on the side of a highway sign. And it's funny because that piece of poster art, it's a real sign, and I think I found like the image the artist used to make their reference for that. The scale is all weird. It's like it's a painted piece, combination of some CG and some painted background. But I was like, I think I can recreate that because I have a laser cutter, I got a 3D printer, I have a vinyl cutter here, so all these tools that I have at my disposal, and it's a fun way to fabricate that. And so I found the right font. I found some really cool materials to do that kind of green on the front and white in the back, and then made little decals and then built nice sign. And that's how I have Spider-Man displayed, because awesome. Some stuff's on shelves, some stuff's right out in the open, and if I can have him interacting, he's holding the sign. I drilled the base, so I have the dynamic the flight stand right on there, so he's like, he can do a backflip over the sign, he can grab it. I got the little the drone spider kind of right off to the side, and then that's how I like having it displayed. It's like you go to a toy store when you were younger, right? And like you just want to look at how all the amazing things are displayed, and like we kind of have that right now. Or go to a Comic-Con, right? I don't know if you've been to one of those and seen like Sideshow's booth, and it's basically like the statue garden and this museum of all these things. Like, oh, I kind of want that. And so this is like a little piece of that. I try to bring that to my house, as much as the family permits, but mostly ends up in the office here.
Well, that's what I like about collecting, and there's all kinds of type collectors. There's the ones that do the museum poses, and they have like a gallery, and it's like, that's what it is, and it looks amazing, and that's cool. For me, I'm like you. I want to get my hands dirty. I want to bend it. If I just happen to break it, that sucks, but I did. I've broken my fair share of stuff. And and like you said, not that it's not costly. These are expensive collectibles, but you want to. I just released a video yesterday on posing, and I feel like when you try and reenact whatever that character would do, and put it in a position that looks real, it makes the figure even more worthy, I guess, valuable. I don't know.
It's a fulfillment of we all read comic books when we were little, and we have in our head the ideal Spider-Man flip or the Wolverine action pose. And it's one of the reasons we love these movies too, right? We watch these MCU movies or those Fox movies back then because they were, these actors were putting on screen, physicalizing these characters that only existed in our head. And when we have then the fruits of those productions, the costume design, right, and all the makeup that is in a scale that's posable. Like one of the things, like people ask, why do you like 6 scale, or why do you like Hot Toys? And I tell them usually it's 3 things. It's the portrait, right? I'm a big sucker for portraits. If there's a great portrait, I'm like, that's the art right there, right? That's the paint, that's the mold, the cast, the sculpture work. Hot Toys, they still do hand sculpting, right? Those artists, it's not just the digital stuff. And then so the portrait, the costuming, so the cut and sew, so they're doing fabric, they're finding the small versions, like the scaled versions of the leather or the silkscreen material or whatever it is that's on screen, or sometimes it's in CG or the diecast armor stuff, right? So it's like the costume, the portrait, and then also the posability. And like if you're just in the posing, there's a whole world of like Metacom and MFX, like that stuff is extremely posable at 12th scale, but 6 scale it just has that presence. And then if I find a pose and like I'll tweak a pose, like right now I have like my endgame cap right off and I have it like on out of the shelf, and I'm like tweaking it every day, every night, just a little bit, like, and I'm learning more about, it's like how an artist has those wooden models for anatomy, right? Like when you go to art school, you learn about, what does it mean when the shoulder is rested this way, or like what is, and because there's static when you're talking about pose. So is this, is he throwing Mjolnir? Is he catching Mjolnir? Like, where is the flex in the muscle? Where's the weight distribution? These are all the things I'm kind of thinking about. And when you get it right, it clicks. It clicks, and you're like, that feels now alive, right? Even though it's not moving, it feels alive once I get that pose right. And it's tough to even capture that too, because you want to take a photo of it with your camera. And depending on like the focal length, right, wide angle, the lighting, you're trying to capture what you see with your eye when you've posed it, that magic that you see with the camera, and that becomes its own fun adventure too.
Yeah, that's a whole nother world.
Yeah.
I get that all the time, because I'll get something and I'll think it looks just gorgeous. Yeah. And then you go to photograph it and you're like, nah. I mean, you like it, but like you said, trying to translate that to the end user is very difficult. Even video is the same way. You got focal lengths, you got distortion, you got
but when you do it right, like your review of Rey, right, of Rise of Skywalker Rey, with the lightsaber, with the helmet. I think like you got JC Hong retweeting your Instagram cool. there, and that was a beautiful pose and a beautiful photo. And I think like it captured the essence of that figure, and like it reached its potential in that moment. And then and it's the fun part is next week you can do it again, or put it on the shelf, bring it back out, and see if you can capture another moment.
Yeah, it's super fun. So I know you have what some would consider a lot would consider a Grail piece, and you did a video on the Hulkbuster, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you consider Hulkbuster as a Grail piece for me, because I was like staring at it for a long time. And the funny thing is, it's on this. My setup here is it's literally on the table next to the camera, because I love looking at it. I got the Mark 43 on there. The hardest part about the Hulkbuster was getting the Mark 43 to stand like 1 foot in. I know they engineered it so you can have
there's nowhere to step.
There's nowhere to step. Like you have to kind of fake it, right? Like you're actually putting the foot, like 1 foot in the sleeve, in the hole, another foot balanced on one of the chest pieces. But I want to like cram all those opening armor pieces in there too, because it's like a really cool part of this to have that internal mechanism revealed. And so I have a really pose I'm happy with, but it's like in a very tenuous state. I love the Hulkbuster.
Mine's in a similar position. I found with that particular pose, because when I did the video for that one, I was the same way. I was like, please don't fall. Please don't fall. Please don't fall. And what I actually did with mine is I cut I don't even remember what it was. I just had a flat piece of board. It's like poster board, or it was a very thick poster board. And I literally cut a sliver, and I made a base inside the whole.
Oh, you stuffed in there. You can put like some foam in there. Yeah, no, I should consider doing that.
And awesome. But my problem was like he won't fit in a normal display cabinet.
No, you could take a detolf and technically like remove a couple of shelves and narrow the shoulders, but then that's a museum pose, and like
it's too awesome to do that.
Yeah, you gotta have the hands out. If you got a soap reactor, you gotta light it up. Actually, the knee light is like my favorite part. The curvature of the knee. The paint application on it too is, even though it's not die cast, it's I think really up there. That red. I know. I'm really curious because I haven't seen the 3.0
Oh yes.
They're 1/12. That one's, they're known for the posability, and they have a 1/12 line, and they have a Hulkbuster coming out with a Mark 43 they'll fit in.
Yep.
But there's something about like everyone who walks into the room and looks at that, they're like, oh damn, like that's that Comic-Con moment of like, you got the Hulkbuster, you got Mark 43 in there. So yeah, totally, like, a Grail piece for just like the size of it, right? It's like one of those things you stepped up to, like a vehicle, right? You can think of it like
it's a vehicle for the Mark 43. I mean, it's exactly what it is. It's awesome. Like some other vehicles that I've got coming in board. I just ordered this week. I don't know if you're familiar with Jazz Inc. Diorama.
Absolutely. I gotta tell you, I was so stressed out because for people who don't know, right? Jazz Inc. They do dioramas for D12s. They're actually like CNC'd machines, so not just like acrylic stuff. Beautiful dioramas. He's done stuff, a lot of Star Wars stuff, right? You got a snow speeder. I couldn't justify the Justice Mobile, right? Because that's a Grail, really. And like every photo I've seen with someone with, a Suicide Squad Batman with the Justice Mobile, that's like a pitch perfect combo. I have a Tumbler, right? I got in on the Tumbler. I have a DeLorean. Those are Grails for some people. I know the Tumbler's getting reissued, but DeLorean probably not. But the Justice Mobile is long. And I'm so pleased for everyone who got in on that, and I'm so happy for them because it sounds like they're working things out with Warner Brothers to get a license, so it's all can be legit. So actually, I have a 1966 on payment plan right now.
I'm with you. Now, everybody in the chat, I give DC a hard time because their movies aren't really amazing as Marvel and Star Wars, so that's subjective. But I give people, I have a moderator, huge DC fan, and I give him a hard time all the time. He bugged me and bugged me and bugged me. He says, you got to buy the freaking Batmobile. And I grew up watching the 66 Batman.
Yeah.
I grew up watching that. So he was running around with the bomb and doing. I got
a NECA quarter scale of those on the shelf here. I'll tell you, for people like talking about Grails and how collecting has changed, I bought my 66 Batman and Robin from Sideshow on heavy discount in like 2014 for like $100 each. That's how the market has changed, right? You can't find on eBay for less than a couple $100, but those figures on a shelf, and they're going to come out of the shelf once that 66 Batmobile comes in, and that's like that's the perfect set. Yeah.
I just ordered the Falcon cockpit deluxe.
Oh wow, awesome!
Where I'm going to put that? That's a problem for future me. I don't know.
That big. Yeah,
it's going to be huge. So the Falcon, and I have one of his DTOF Death Star dioramas way back when. I bought one, so I've got one of those as well. So I know like the milled material he's doing, and he doesn't. It's not so. There's a reason they. I'll put it this way: they're underpriced for what you get.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Now everybody's going to hate that I said that, but he already knows, so I promise. But he's a collector. He's a maker, but he did that 66 Batmobile, got the deluxe with the leather seats and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, well, I've got that. I've got the Ray land speeder coming, the Ray one.
Oh, the garbage hauler, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Love that.
Can't wait. Yeah. He's doing prototype now. That's going to be amazing. And then I'm like this close to that snow speeder, man. Like,
sometimes it's the vehicle and the diorama that makes me interested in the figure itself. You made some on Instagram. I recently got a thing for Captain Marvel, and like Captain Marvel, as I like the movie. I think it was. I'm looking forward to the Marvels. I think Brie Larson did a great job, but I didn't have a ton of interest in that first Captain Marvel figure. And the Endgame one, I think that was a cool look too. Until I saw on I think it was on the Hot Toys subreddit, someone posted their Top Gun diorama, right? And it's like they have their own custom Tom Cruise from Top Gun, but they had him in this cockpit, and I was like, what is that cockpit? It's like, it's not a full plane, it's just the seat at 6 scale. It's an F-15C Eagle, so it's like it's a real plane that was flown in the the late 80s to now, really. And I looked at that and I'm like, oh, first of all, I want to know what that is. And I got obsessed with that for like a good month and a half, on eBay looking for it. And then two, I'm like, Tom Cruise doesn't really resonate with me for Top Gun, but think it would be great for Captain Marvel because that movie's set in the 90s. She literally is flying an F-15. And so like that connecting those dots made me want that figure. And so I was really lucky enough. I like won an auction, got it canceled, but won another one recently. And I have it here if you want to see it. Have you,
I would
seen this in person yet?
See that. Yes, I would absolutely love to see that.
This is the F-15C cockpit. Whoa. And I did a vinyl cut. So I put, the base is a laser cut thing that because the bases that it came with was a little bit of a mess. But you can see here, that is
awesome.
Right. And I put the Captain Carol Danvers as a vinyl cut decal. So it's her name on there. The interior is fully detailed. So you can see all the instrumental paneling. The seat comes out. This one, lucky enough for me, came with a pilot. And so I was able to do a head swap and pat it out to fit the Captain Marvel head sculpt that came with the Hot Toys. And then I just did a photo shoot with this. But this is
cool. Hey, look, got the decal on the side. That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it's fully detailed, lights up. It's massive. It has all like the seats have real straps on it. It's like it has all the accessories. It's everything that would be in an F-15. I'm gonna put it back down because it's a little bit fragile.
You're gonna cost me some money. I wish you hadn't shown me that.
But the amazing thing is that that's from a company called BBI. It's a blue box. They do the Elite Force line of like military figures, or a lot of where like the GI Joes, the stuff came from. And if you look at back like 20 years ago, you had these companies putting out some really amazing 6th scale stuff that wasn't superhero based, that was more military special ops base. And this is where that comes from. Is there that Elite Force line? This thing was released 20 years ago. I think it was sold for like $150 back then. And if you can find it on eBay, pick it up because it's never going to pop up again. But it's about again, like bringing these characters to life and engaging with them in a fun way. Right. One thing I got to give you credit for, same thing. You did a review of the Rescue Cap, right? Yeah. And that's a grail for some people because it's a really distinct look, right? It has a great leather jacket. But at the end of that, you showed off this essentially is a GI Joe, like Harley Davidson bike, and that's a 6th scale bike that you can go buy and you can get it for like under $100. So after I watched it, I'm like, that I want that, I need that, and I got it.
Congratulations!
and I paired it with my concept cap here.
Oh, nice!
Because I love concept cap. I think concept cap is probably my favorite cap body.
Agreed.
Because it has like it just has the shoulders.
He didn't skip shoulder day.
No. It has like huge. You got the huge traps. You got like the bulging shoulders. A lot of people use it for their Bucky, Winter Soldier as Cap remixes. But Endgame Cap head sculpt is the best Chris Evans ever. Oh yeah. So that's where I'm using that. This is a leather jacket that was inspired by what Cap wore in the first Avengers film. Remember when he has that like gingham shirt and he's walking on the helicarrier. So that's his jacket. And then I got a Thompson, die-cast Thompson from a DID figure. And so like this is my my nightmare cap. Or this nightmare Batman with a leather jacket. It's my nightmare alternate reality cap, which fits with that Harley.
So I think one of the common things you and I have in common is wanting to take something out of the box. And when you walk into your collection room office where you get the stuff displayed, you just want to look at it and go, yeah, that's freaking awesome. Like that's it. And it might take you a while to get there.
Oh yeah. And you might think it's awesome. And then you see someone else with a different pose. Like the video you did, inspired by 1/6 posing, right? That guy is a mad genius, right? I've bookmarked all his posts, like in like the innovations, like hanging the stand upside down, right? Like from a detail, like, oh, that is so cool for flying characters. Yeah, like someone's always going to do it better. And it just makes you like, even if you're copying them, that's okay. Like copying it, you still got to go through the exercise of physically moving around, having an understanding of what I like about that pose, right? Whether you're copying another 6th scale or copying a movie poster or a screenshot from a film, you're still engaging it with it in some way, and then you're having a better understanding of why you like these characters.
Right. And you and I know somebody. You guys may not know, but you were on Strike a Pose, right? With,
with
Terry, right?
Yes,
Terry's a good friend of mine, and
awesome.
he actually used to live in my city until he moved away. But he's here for a good year and a half or so. We had coffee every day, every Saturday, and whatever. And I told him like a year and a half, about a year and a half. I said, listen, I'm going to take 2020, and I'm going to work on posing. That's my goal. 20. I just want to get better because I'll be honest with you, 29, I sucked. I was terrible. I was like, you get it out of the box, put it on the shelf, and I would try, but they didn't really translate. So I watched a ton of his videos. I talked to him. He'd come over to the house and we'd post some figures or whatever. And he'd come in here and go, I'm going to tweak this elbow, and and you learn, right?
Yep.
And so I spent all of last year. It's true.
There's the chat.
Yes, I stole some of his poses, and I spent like the whole year like just working on that because one, we spend way too much money on these things for them to look boring.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy right here, for example, this heavy Mando.
Yep.
This may be the best figure they've put out this year so far. It's unbelievable. And I'm saying that I got a lot of figures, but this is probably this is and I like the 501st Clone Troopers they just dropped too. But anyways, this guy right here, you wouldn't want this behemoth of a figure as I knock him over to just be sitting there not doing anything. So I've had him like dragging stormtroopers. I've had him kicking people, flying, whatever. And he's a lot of fun. I know you have this guy.
Yeah, I got both of those. They're actually on the shelf right now. I kind of have them. The way I had them posed is almost with IG-88, and I actually have a R5 that Sideshow put out a couple years ago that I picked up at Disney World. So it's kind of like the Tatooine crew, but I have them almost posed like a comic book cover, right? With Heavy Mando flying behind them. I love a flying pose. If I can get the balance right, and clipping onto the calf. Was something, not the calf, the thigh is the thing that it took me a while to learn that, as opposed to just the waist. And it's like I wish there was more ways for me to buy like flight stands. There's a shortage of flight stands. I know Hot Toys used to sell them. There's a shortage of the ones that not only do the waist grip but have like the crotch grabber. I think like the Mark 7 has that die cast.
That one cradle is huge.
Yes,
it's so. I don't know why
useful.
They don't put that on all the Iron Man figures. I don't get it.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I got a Mando. Actually, let me grab him. I actually just reposed him last week.
Nice.
And I don't have any Grogu's. The only Grogu I got is the Hallmark.
Well, I mean that counts. It's gonna be hard to pose that one though.
yeah. But this is my recent pose.
That's from like the first episode, right? He's kind of reaching back.
That's. And this is the only Mando I got because I love this one. The Beskar armor, I mean, I'll probably go pick up the new season 2 one that was announced. But I love the weather, like the Western look of that first one.
I'm with you on that one. And I think people will ask me all the time, like, which figure should I buy this figure? Should I buy that figure? I tell people I'm the absolute worst person to ask because I buy them all for the channel, or I just buy them all.
Yeah.
And so I give advice on like what parts I do like or I don't like about a particular figure, and then you got to make your own decision. But I have let no like secret out of the bag that Mando you got is my favorite one out of all of them.
Yeah. It was actually, this is one of the first ones. I also did a body swap because I like the heftness of the TB League bodies, and so I put an M33 in there. So it's a little more articulated. Has that skeleton, the metal armature body, and some people might call it a waist because the silicone skin stuff it's all covered up by the costume here. And I've seen people do some really cool like Wolverine body swaps, right? Because you have the exposed bicep, but I just like the extra added weight to it, and then like you go full splits if you needed to, right? And it's like have that bent knee. One tip that I've recently really got into is using a tiny Apple box. So let me show you.
Yeah, go for it.
Let me bring my Endgame cap. There's another figure I have that I don't want to show.
Go for it.
But
I'm surprised we found another person in the States that has an in-game cap.
They're slowly making its way off the boats. Just watch out for that collar. I got a high collar, so I'm all good.
Yeah, you're good.
So this, if you're familiar with film production, Apple boxes are basically wooden boxes that are used. They can all sorts of purposes. Like they're extremely sturdy. They're about like 3 feet by 2 feet by 1 feet or something. But you can put things on them. You can elevate things. But a lot of times, if you go to like a photo studio and someone's doing a photo shoot, right, they may put an Apple box that's like your standard. Like someone will sit on it or something, right? For a like a class portrait kind of thing, right? Or they'll put a foot on it. And one of the reasons is that when someone elevates their leg or their knee or something, and they shift their body weight, it's a more like dynamic. Your body just changes. Your shoulder moves, right? It's like when you're standing still and you're trying to do like you're just kind of resting your body. It's not as like your muscles aren't really being used. Right. Like if you were lifting your foot up. And I find it's actually the same thing with 6 scale. So I had my endgame cap for a long time trying to get him in this pose, and I just had him standing on the table, leaning in, and I was like, it doesn't feel as dynamic as I want it to. And then I found this Film Tools is a company in LA. They sell film equipment, but they also, for funsies, they sell this for $15, which is a micro Apple box. And I have a bunch of these around. They're just like they're kind of tchotchkes, but they're also kind of like Apple boxes at 6th scale. And so in my detolfs now, and even around, I just literally have characters 1 foot up on them. And maybe the front is the best way to show that. But you can see, even if I'm not like, I'm just kind of floating him in the air right now, it feels like his weight is shifting, and you can feel his weight on this foot now. Because it's on something, it's on a step, right? And that changes the perception of the figure completely. Like you see more action in that when you see that they're leaning into something, right? Yep. And it's a micro version of a real photography tool that's used in studios. So why not use it for 6 scale hot toys?
100%. And if you don't have an Apple box, go to your backyard and grab a rock.
Yeah.
Grab a stone.
Yep.
I've got a pond out back. I'm all the time grabbing something. I'll be walking. I'll be like, oh, I need that. It's the right size, and I'll stack them, and I'll do different things. And you don't have to spend money to do it. Just make it work. But I'm with you. I think you got to. And one of the things I started doing is I started trying to mimic whatever pose I was trying to do.
Oh, I mean, photographers do that all the time. Like motion capture, you're the actor. You gotta understand where the weight is shifted. Like I'm literally, not when anyone's around. Like I am holding my arm out. Like, okay, is Cap bending his arm this way? Mm-hmm. Well, that means he's about to do the throw, or is he doing a catch? Like, what does it mean? And like, oh wow, the shoulder needs to be rolled back, and so that's the thing. You got to roll those shoulders back. Broaden the shoulders up. These subtle little things that you like you instinctively do, because we know our bodies, but you actually have to physically manipulate them because they are so posable in these characters. You actually have to do it. Yeah, it makes a big difference.
It really does, and you've got to. I would challenge anybody out there who's new to this, or if you think your posing needs improvement. Like everybody needs to improve. Believe me, I'm not there. I need to improve. Pick a figure. This is what I would pick a figure, whatever figure, something that's posable. Maybe not like a first order stormtrooper. Probably not that one. But
that's a challenge. I've done that.
A Spider-Man figure. Spider-Man is the easiest thing to go crazy with.
Oh my God. If you need a figure to just practice posing and you don't want to spend a ton of money on it either, the Night Monkey Stealth Suit Spider-Man, it has amazing ankles. And I actually I get these bodies that the upgrade suit from Far From Home has an amazing Tom Holland likeness, but I also like I probably most likely want to have his mask on, so I picked up the stealth suit just to put the Tom Holland head on. Same thing with the concept cap for the Chris Evans head, because I want to have both. But that figure, the suit actually works really well. You can actually it's really extremely posable. It doesn't crease. It's not going to it's not elastic, so it's not going to tear. And yeah, that's my recommendation.
Ankles are crazy. It's got those ankle extenders that it just it will do whatever. What I also did is I have and I don't collect a whole lot of Marvel Legends, but I have a Spider-Man figure that I bought last summer or something like that. And I literally will have it on my desk if I'm working on something, and I'll just fiddle with that. And if I nail a pose I like, I'll just come back and I'll put it in the 6-scale form. Because you're not going to break a Marvel Legend unless you really try.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can pull it off, sometimes you can't. But for $20, you can risk breaking one.
I'll tell you though, it's one of the pitfalls I have is I oftentimes I go back instinctively to the same pose. Like a lot of my Iron Man, I'm looking around, they all have that same. Yeah, they all got the right knee up. They're all doing the arms out, falling down. I guess that's the pose I like. And I gotta like force myself to mix it up. Like Spider-Man, I really love bending him back and doing a flip, right? Like so, upgrade suit, or one of the ones I love from last year is the video game one, Iron Spider. From that one has just incredible presence, shelf presence. The Waldo arms just go everywhere, and that was a perfect one to kind of flip around because it has a combination of the stretchy material, but the knees are ratcheted and have the armored pieces, and so you can kind of go really far with that. But yeah, it's like you got to get out of your ruts. Like everyone has like, I just got to get my standard lightsaber pose out of the way and then do something a little different. Even if it's more subdued, don't be afraid to go a little more nuanced and subdued, a quieter moment. Doesn't always have to be a jumping, leaping action pose.
Puzzle Peter, keep going back to the walking. You're damn good at it, man. I don't know what to tell you. You got it down. So walking poses are
not easy.
No,
it's like you think about again, like when you're walking, a thing we do naturally, right? It's actually there's so much nuance to where your hips are and where your body is, but also it looks super cool. It's like if you don't want to do the Apple Box thing, sometimes I just take the stand that comes with the figure and I don't plug in the holder, and it literally just like a sidewalk step and just stepping off of the stand. So I have like a Revenant Stormtrooper, and let's see if I can pull him down without knocking everything. Nope. You know what? Things are falling. But
that's part of collecting.
Just
all the
stepping.
Yeah.
Just let's see if I can get him again.
Just
stepping down, and like a quieter pose. I think, a little more reserved.
Well, that particular guy doesn't need to do it. He just looks awesome.
Yeah, right.
He just is.
And I think that's also too, like you're looking at not only the character and what the character you think would be doing in the film or the TV show or whatever, but also what is it about this toy that you want to showcase?
Yeah. Is
it the accessory? Is it Heavy Mando? Is it the Gatling gun? Is it the portrait? What is it that you want to show off that in this? Is it the cape or something, right? If it's a flying character, and you kind of design your pose around that too.
Yep. I'm with you on that. One of the things I found is stressful, but in the end is very rewarding, is posing figures together.
Oh yeah.
So I at the end of my videos, if I do unboxing, I do like a pose session. I'll have 10 figures up here. Oh
my God.
Sometimes I'll have 2, sometimes I'll have 10, and I'll create a whole battle scene.
Yep.
And by doing that, if you've got, like you said, 4 Iron Man figures in the same pose, like you'll know it right off the bat. Ain't gonna work. So you gotta interact, and having figures interact.
Yeah.
That kicks it up a notch.
Yeah.
So if you can nail like just a simple, like you were saying, the up and down pose, IG-11's pretty much, I just grabbed him on the shelf. But this guy does unbelievable poses.
Arms out, head twisted, like you wouldn't
crazy.
think so.
Shooting backwards and behind the back and just crazy stuff. But interacting figures together, whether it's 2 or 3 or 12 or whatever it is, you'll find that kicks it up a notch as well. And I personally love doing that, even though it takes forever to do.
And I'll tell you, especially if you're doing it for a video or for a photo, it like makes the time it takes 10 times the time, because you get the pose you want, and then you're spending double the time taking the photo, setting up your lighting, because every pose you can interpret it with the camera 100 different ways.
Yep.
And then after that, you're exhausted because you're like, finally, I think the photo I want. And then, okay, now I got to go do another pose. And so that's a whole evening right there.
Oh yeah.
And that's a whole weekend right there.
the end of the posing video, like an unboxing video is easy. Here it is. You got top down camera. You got, that's easy. The posing section takes forever. Takes forever. And if I was doing single figure poses, even that would take a while. But you start breaking out 4, 5, 6, it's unbelievable. It will be hours and hours. But I wouldn't do that if I didn't like doing it. Of course. Eye
lines, man, you gotta, if you, especially if a portrait, you gotta match the eye lines. And I know not all the characters have the purse system, right? So you can't maneuver the eyes, but you got to work with what the sculpt has, right? And if it's looking forward, you kind of have that, does it have like that Mona Lisa quality where it looks like it can be looking anywhere, wherever you look at it? Or does this sculpt and this paint job mean that it needs to be looking down a certain way? Same with Cap, right? You go back to Cap, like how the head tilts left and right. Like I always try to match that eye line down the shoulder. If he's holding a prop, holding a pistol or whatever, it's how you would do it in real life, right? Yeah. It looks weird if it's cocked up in a different place. So the head, the eye line is always something I'm always cognizant of too.
That's one of the things I love about helmeted figures.
Yeah.
Love it, because with portraits, you've got eyes, and you may want them looking. You'll get portraits where they have the eyes looking off to one side, but you want to pose them going this way, and you can't do it. Yeah. This guy, or even stormtroopers, I mean, you can do whatever you want, and you can imagine he's looking wherever you want. And this particular, it's I don't know, just something about helmeted figures just are so much more fun to pose.
Well, it's like the comic book page. Like you are putting a lot of your imagination like into the character. You're bringing just as much to it as its presence on the table or the shelf is. And so it's that relationship. But I gotta ask you, you got all these figures, a lot of modern figures. What are your grails? What was your what were your first hot toys?
All right, so I'll tell you about this. So I went and saw Rogue One in theaters. I saw it like 4 or 5 times. Okay, back when 2016, Rogue One dropped. I immediately came out of there and looked for a K2SO figure of some kind.
Got one right there.
I immediately, and so I went on. I was like K2SO action figure. And I found the one on Sideshow site. It's like $200, and I'm like, holy crap, that's expensive. The wife is going to shoot me if I buy this, right? So
not so much today. That'd be a steal today.
It would be a steal, and so I put a deposit on it, and I'm sitting here sweating bullets, going, "Oh crap, man! That was a lot of freaking money." And anyways, so I had a year to wait on that thing, but I went into my local comic shop, and they had Rey and BB-8 from The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
That was the first one I bought, had my hands on, had in the collection. I still got it. It's not going anywhere. And it's funny because that particular set used to be way down here in price, and now it's up here.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
So, but that was my first set. K2SO was my first deposit, I guess, if you will. I wish I'd bought like 10 of them.
I think like just like how Star Wars had the dark times, before the prequels or before the prequels, where it wasn't there. I felt like there was the dark times a little bit with collecting. We're definitely like a heyday now with so many, like we're so lucky as collectors, so many different companies putting out awesome things. But I think so fondly, like my first Hot Toys was the DX02. I went to a comic book store and it was like $95 to get. That was Batman. DX01 was Joker, and I still have it. Nowhere near as good as DX012 or the Armory Batman. And one of my grails I don't have is quarter scale Dark Knight. I really want that because that Christian Bale portrait's amazing. But that was just, it blew my mind. The eyes, it had the purse system. It had had all the accessories, just the accessory details of the accessories. Like in the Dark Knight, he uses that like sticky bomb gun just for one shot, right? In the Hong Kong scene. And to have that as a posable thing was so cool, and it helped me appreciate the armor a lot more and like notice things like how his shoulder pads are and it look like the costume designer wanted to look like a knight, right? It was so different from the Batman Begins costume. And then that got me, and I still have that. And then, quiet down for a little bit because it was really expensive. And then, more recently, definitely, I think once you start, like you justify it yourself in certain ways. I kind of like budget myself. Can I do maybe one figure a month on pre-order? That's what I'll do. Then I can manage that.
and then you're like, oh, I want that one. Or you go,
I know.
Oh, I want that one. Or you're on Facebook. Yeah.
I mean, things that just got announced, this past week, and I know you had some predictions that came true.
Right.
So
funny how that works.
I think people are very excited. I hope the other predictions are going to come true. That's what my personal hope is.
I know exactly what you mean, and I'm with you on that one. That and by the way, congratulations to all the DC fans out there who are super excited about a Cyborg figure. And
you got two cyborgs. You got Cyborg and two cyborgs. What a narrative!
Oh man, nobody saw that coming. The other one.
No.
That was crazy.
It looks good though. Looks good.
That was the ultimate troll. That was the ultimate troll. Here's your Cyborg. But this new one, this Cyborg is going to be a Grail for a lot of people. So, but the Mark I Iron Man,
if they do that,
it kicked it all off.
If they do that in diecast, that is, I mean, mentioned at the top, I work with Adam Savage, and he has built a full Mark I Iron Man costume and armor. Yep. And so we're actually just talking about that today. I said, the rumors are they're going to make a diecast, and he's like, oh, if they do that, we're going to pre-order that day one. Just inspiration for the costume too. But I'm happy to wait. I mean, what are they at in the MMS numbers right now? Because 500 was
we're over 600.
Over 600. Okay.
Yeah. So I think the Mark V reissue was 600. I think that's what it was.
Got it. So the big anniversary numbers seem like they're big things that come for those, because 500 was Mark 7, and that's still one of the best things they've done in recent memory.
Love it.
So
I bought that one 4 times.
Really? Wow.
Well, to be fair, I had 2 lost by the United States Postal Service. So. There's that.
It is.
Iron Man is my current black hole. I just picked up the War Machine Mark I, the original one. I know they reissued, but I just got the original one. The Mark 7, the 85, that Battle Damage 85 will be out later.
I love the War Machine from Endgame, not the Iron Patriot one that's not out yet, but the sleeker one.
Yep.
That one that's a really nice diecast piece. It's not as chunky as Punisher War Machine, but it has a really sleek look, and I really like that.
Do you have a favorite in the collection?
Favorite? I think it varies. There's definitely stuff I've paid a lot of money for that you get obsessed with things, ideas of things. I just spent way more. I spent market price for Thor Ragnarok, Gladiator Thor, because I love I had the chance to buy Infinity War Thor on waitlist, and I was I spent a whole weekend you know what? I like this Thor, but I think Gladiator Thor is better, and so I spent a little more on Gladiator Thor. Yeah,
you definitely made the right call. That Gladiator Thor is awesome.
Let me look around. I got the quarter scale stuff. Iron Man Mark III in quarter scale is impressive. I never got I came that late, so I didn't have the 43 is really popular. That one's really nice at quarter scale, but the detail in that armor. I think for Iron Man, it's 7, 47, and 85 are my favorite.
Ooh, okay, that's a great set. That's a great set. Yeah. And I'm so happy they reissued the 47 because that's $1,500. That thing was crazy. Yeah. But the 85 is gorgeous. It's next level. I mean, it's just beautiful.
It's the color scheme, I think, mostly. If you look at that, because you put that next to the 50, and I like the 50 also, but the 50 being the first nanotech one from Infinity War, it has, I think, really curved lines that make it look a little more organic. Especially look at the shoulders, the 3 lines here, right? And I think what they did with the 85, I'm looking at it now, that blend of showing the silver through, it's very organic in a techno-organic way, right? Where it looks like the biceps are gold. But
Yeah, we got a little
pass
deep
through.
Here, right? He got shoulders, and he
has the pointed tip right from the on his mask, right out of the comic books. It's like they knew if it was going to be the last Iron Man that you saw for Endgame, what is like the Iron Man, they went all out and saved that best design for last, and it's big. I mean, I have it displayed next to Team Suit Tony, which I think it's not as posable, I think, as some of the ones, but like it's a really good cut and sew and like light, like having that next to it, that's a nice matte light, and the 85 is nice shiny finish. But 85 is so tall next to Team Suit Tony.
It was just funny because Robert Downey Jr. is not a tall fellow, but
right? They all wear lifts, you know. They all you can see it in the boots of the figures too.
He's got nano lifts.
Yeah, the ankle extenders.
All right, well, guys, we got a hard stop here. We're gonna have to wrap this up. If you guys would like to see Norm on here again, let us know in the chat. We'd love to have you back. Chat more nerd stuff. We didn't get time to pose anything.
I know.
Stuff, okay.
I confess, I don't have I'm not in my like the other studio with my big desk, so I was procrastinating, pushing back the posing conversation. We'll have to save it for another time.
You're good. We will do this again, and maybe we'll have a little posing challenge or something in the future. That. But,
sure.
I am. If you guys haven't checked out Tested, definitely go do that. Like I said, Adam built a life-size. In fact, he just recently built, maybe in the last couple months, the Ambar rifle from Mando, right?
Yes.
With that new resin deal he got.
Yeah.
Holy cow, that
was beautiful prop.
He like the trigger. He nailed it, man. It was crazy.
It's the action. The action of being just like in the 6-scale version. Like it pops open, it's satisfying. Yeah,
it's gorgeous. So go check that out. Norm, thanks for joining us here, buddy.
Hey,
very much appreciate it being able to talk nerd stuff with somebody else, and it was awesome. So,
guys, my pleasure.
We are going to catch you guys later. As always, click what you like. We'll see you next time.